restore the public's faith in our judicial system. The president saying that what is happening now is simply not normal and that we stand in a breach. The president is calling on Congress to establish term limits, arguing that the current lifetime appointments give a president undue influence. Instead, he's proposing that a president appoint a justice every 2 years for 18-year terms.
The president is expected to further address the proposed reforms while speaking at an event today in Austin, Texas.
Much of the Democratic Party swiftly rallying around Vice President Kamala Harris as a presumptive nominee after President Joe Biden dropped out of the race. But not all of them. Democratic presidential hopeful Marianne Williamson tells Wisconsin Weekend Morning News she thinks uniting around Harris could have been the unintended consequence.
My contention is that if we don't open up the convention, it will be boring. You know, the Republicans had a very highly energized convention. And we need one, too. And you don't get high-level energy from people who are simply doing what it was decided would be done.
Williamson says she thinks the problem started with the primaries with a lack of serious challenges to Biden. And she's worried the same thing is happening now.
Loved ones of a man who died outside a downtown Milwaukee hotel in June will be back out today with picket signs.
The family of Devontae Mitchell plans to protest outside the Hyatt Regency this afternoon alongside attorneys Ben Crump, Will Sultan, and B. Ivory Lamar. This is nearly 1 month has passed since security guards pinned down Mitchell outside the hotel after police said he caused a disturbance inside the building. Family members say Mitchell was suffering from a mental health episode. Police have referred 4 murder charges to the district attorney's office, though no one has yet been charged with Mitchell's death. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A new blood test to screen for colon cancer.
The FDA has approved a new blood test called Shield to screen for colon cancer. The test is already on the market after being initially approved for people ages 45 and older with an average risk of colon cancer. Now this new FDA approval makes the test more widely available and more eligible for insurance coverage. Still, colonoscopies remain the gold standard when screening for colorectal cancer, but researchers say a blood test will be more convenient. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Wall Street looking good on this Monday. Everything is in the green. The Dow is up 9 points to 40,598. S&P 500 is up nearly 17 points to 5,476. And the NASDAQ is up 74 points to 17,432. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
This report is sponsored by Diamonds Direct. Your love, their passion.
When you ask people here what's the one thing that makes Diamonds Direct their favorite jeweler, for some, it's the unbeatable pricing we get through our direct importer. No middleman connections. The foundation of our business since day one. For others, it's the uncompromising quality. From hand-selected diamonds to handcrafted designer rings. Only the best of the best. Some people put selection at the top of their list, as Diamonds Direct offers up to 30 times the options you expect from a typical jewelry retailer. For some, it's our luxurious showroom with diamond experts who genuinely care about your experience and happiness, and who are empowered to do whatever it takes for you. Others rave about Diamonds Direct's unmatched warranties and guarantees that include free service for life and an extraordinary 110% diamond upgrade promise. But you know the most often answer we get when asking what makes Diamonds Direct stand out? It's not one thing, it's everything. Diamonds Direct. Value, luxury, choices, and confidence. Get directions, hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, now open in Wauwatosa.
Buying a home should be a joy, but could you imagine doing this without a realtor? Paperwork, inspections, appraisals, deadlines, showings, market research? Or you could relax. Or understanding legal documents, negotiating offers, coordinating inspections, securing finance. Oh, sorry. A realtor can take the stress out of the home buying process. See how at wra.org/a-realtor-can. Brought to you by the Wisconsin Realtors Association.
Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Vince Vitrano for Johnson & Sons Paving. Summer is here, but before we know it, we'll be prepping for winter. Johnson & Sons Paving wants to make sure you're ready by remembering the 3 R's of parking lot and asphalt maintenance. Reseal every 2 to 3 years. Repair when you see signs of cracking or potholes. And replace if there's standing water, warping, buckling, or sinking. Don't scare those customers or tenants away with a bad parking lot. Connect with Johnson & Sons today to make those minor repairs before they become huge headaches. Visit johnsonsonspaving.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Paris Olympics continues on today despite earlier acts of vandalism against telecommunications in the host country. Happening right now, men's gymnastics team looking great, competing in all-around finals. Earlier today, women's rugby fell to France 31-14. And later today, the women's basketball squad opens Olympic play against Japan. Back at home, Brewers open a 3-game series against Atlanta at American Family Field tonight. Our coverage begins right here on WTMJ with warm-up at 6 o'clock.
Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Not too bad, but we do have a crash I want to alert you to. It's westbound on Ryan Road at the ramp to 4194 North. Expect lane closures due to that crash. And just take it easy because we do have some of the roads are wet with a little bit of rain this morning.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, mostly cloudy, a chance of midday showers and storms. It's going to be humid, a high of 81. And tonight, patchy fog is possible, low of 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot and humid, a slight chance of evening showers, a high of 87. Wednesday, partly cloudy, hot and humid, a chance of more storms, a high of 87. Thursday, partly cloudy, hot, humid. Friday, partly cloudy, hot, humid. Both of the highs are 85 degrees.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Ty, and in for Greg Matzik, it's Julia Fellow.
Happy Monday, everybody. It's a ladies' show today. We like that. Thanks
Even
for joining.
Our producer. Yes, thank you. It's so nice to be here, Jessica. It's the first time I'm filling in for Greg. It's very nice.
Right? It just goes a little bit faster than the afternoon show. That's about it.
Does.
2
back
hours instead of 3. Well, we appreciate it, and we appreciate all of you for listening today. We hope you had a fabulous weekend. We are going to, later on, reflect on the Great Milwaukee Weekend because there was so much going on. I mean, from the air show to German Fest to Harley
100.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh, the Harley Homecoming Festival. I mean, there was just so much goodness going on. I almost kind of feel like Mother Nature is just giving us a moment to breathe with the rain. Take a breather today. Enjoy it. We have a lot coming up for you, including what's the talk about timber? So much talk about timber in Milwaukee. We're going to get to the bottom of that. And what did Trump mean when he said, if he wins, you'll never have to vote again? That's just a couple of the stories we're looking at. But first.
3 big things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, a push to overhaul the U.S. Supreme Court. In an op-ed published today in the Washington Post, President Biden is calling for major reforms to the Supreme Court. That includes 18-year term limits for the justices and a binding code of conduct and ethics rules. He's also pushing for a constitutional amendment to strip presidents of immunity from prosecution.
President Biden starts his op-ed in the Washington Post by writing that this nation was founded on a simple yet profound principle, quote, no one is above the law, not the president of the United States, not a justice on the Supreme Court of the United States, no one. But he says the court's 6-3 ruling earlier this month that former President Donald Trump was entitled to some immunity and that former presidents had absolute immunity for core official acts means there are, quote, virtually no limits on what a president can do. The president writing, quote, the only limits will be those that are self-imposed by the person occupying the Oval Office. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
President Biden's proposal comes after the Supreme Court issued a series of landmark decisions in recent years that have upended long-standing rulings on abortion, affirmative action in higher education, and federal regulatory power.
Stay tuned with that. Number 2, Iowa's abortion ban now in effect. The switch happened at 8 o'clock this morning. The Hawkeye state now joins more than a dozen others where access to abortion has been sharply curbed in the roughly 2 years since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. So this law stops abortions after cardiac activity is detected, roughly at 6 weeks of pregnancy, and many women at that point don't know that they're pregnant. There are limited exceptions in that state.
And now you have some other states who are saying, okay, we're getting ready for an influx of patients. I know Minnesota is one of those.
Yes.
Number 3, loving it less. Today, McDonald's released its latest earnings report, and it's not good. Same-store sales fell for the first time since the pandemic. They are down 1%, and analysts expected to see growth. People are either skipping meals out or choosing cheaper options. McDonald's says it is working on fixes like meal deals and new menu items, but it expects sales to be down for the next few quarters, so at least they're putting that out there. But remember, Julia, it was just about a month ago that the fast food giant introduced that $5 meal deal. That was late in this financial reporting period, though, so we'll see if that helps down the road.
Okay.
When was the last time you had McDonald's? Mickey D's.
In Whitewater, when I was, I'm on the board of Special Olympics Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So I had a frozen Coke, and what else did I have?
Frozen Coke.
I had my large fry and sweet and sour sauce. And I had to pay 30 cents for extra sweet and sour sauce.
Wait, sweet and sour sauce with the fries?
Yes, if you dip it in. My brother got me onto it a long time ago.
Oh, my goodness. I've only done that with the chicken nuggets, and I haven't had chicken nuggets in like 2 decades.
Wow.
I'm probably part of the problem at McDonald's.
It's a good hangover meal.
Stay close. Sounding Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 11:12. After this, we're talking timber.
Tony Drake here from Drake & Associates. Big news. Our Retirement Ready radio show is moving to a new time slot. Catch us at noon every Saturday. At Drake & Associates, we craft tailor-made plans that not only meet your financial needs, but align seamlessly with your unique lifestyle. Tune in at noon on Saturdays and get retirement ready.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice.
For your next exterior remodeling project, we know you're not asking a lot from us. You want the right products for your situation, you want a few different financing options that can make your project affordable, and you want us to do a good job with minimal disruption to your life. And this one's important. You want a warranty that matters. And we know that checking every box makes all the difference. You might be surprised at how many moving parts go into it, but we have just the right people in all the right places to pull that off every day and make it look easy. The company we have took us 21 years to build. It's an awesome place to work because we never stop improving it. And we think we can do this work so well that we can actually change the reputation of exterior remodelers long term. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Ask about our finance options.
With an ever-changing inventory, you never know what great bargains you're going to be able to find at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. It makes shopping fun because the best finds are the ones you had no idea you'd even come across. And when they're at thrift store prices, it feels good. And it feels even better to know you're helping us help others. Shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Today, mostly cloudy conditions. We do have a chance for showers midday, and some of you are already seeing a little bit of rain. Just a little drizzle in some spots. Humid, though. High of 81 today. Milwaukee to get the world's largest mass timber building. The headline grabs your attention, right? It also sounds like a headline we've had before in the past in Milwaukee. It's like, wasn't this a couple years ago we had that headline? Well, last week we told you about the new plan to redevelop the Marcus Performing Arts Center parking garage. It includes another timber building. So what's the deal with wood? A man who knows joins us live in the studio. Tim Gockman, CEO of Timber and Partners and Managing Director of New Land Enterprises. Tim, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Your group developed the 25-story Ascent building, an apartment complex made from timber. What is the deal with timber these days? Because I know you're really passionate about it. Why build with timber versus concrete or steel?
So we started Ascent with the draw to the aesthetics. And fortunately, in Milwaukee, we have a lot of old heavy timber buildings in the 3rd Ward in Walker's Point downtown. And for a long time, we knew when we went into these buildings, there was something that we really liked. And we just didn't know what to call it, right? Maybe it was texture, maybe it was, I don't know. Turns out the word is biophilia. And that is the impact of natural elements in the built environment on humans. And
that sounds a lot better than the actual word.
Well, right. But intuitively, you understand, right? When we have natural elements in a built environment, we feel better about it. Daylight, views of water, plants. And so that's what it started with. It started with aesthetics. And we started this process in 2017, 2018. But as we went through design and construction, we realized that this was going to be a technology that would completely reshape real estate development.
I think that it's beautiful, and I think that you don't really have to do anything to it. You can just leave it untouched and have the exposed kind of timber. Have you seen the photos? It's so pretty in the 25-story apartment building.
I have taken a peek at the photos, and I do think there tends to be somewhat of a warmth to it. Do people say they feel differently living there? That sounds like a lot, but I would imagine maybe it's the case for some people.
Oh, they absolutely do. And the difference is astounding as to how the building makes you feel. And that, right, you're spot on. We build buildings out of concrete or steel, and then we wrap them with fireproofing, and then we wrap them with drywall, and then we put wood on top of it to make it feel warm. Or you could just build it out of mass timber and leave it exposed.
So is the building process different? Do you use like certain glues, or are you still using I don't know. How do you build it?
Yeah, so the old technology, heavy timber, which is what you see in our warehouse districts, that's one big tree that makes a column and one big tree that makes a beam. Mass timber, the new technology, is taking smaller trees, effectively like 2x4s, gluing them together and creating large columns and large beams and decks. And so it's a completely different technology that's also actually much better for carbon capture and for our forests, which is why the U.S. Forest Service gave Ascent a $350,000 grant for testing and research and development.
So that's one reason why mass timber is better. Are there other reasons? What about the building process itself? I thought I had read in the past that maybe you can build these buildings even faster?
Oh, absolutely. Faster and more precisely and with a lot less labor. And so we spent half the time driving piles, which none of the neighbors like. That's terrible.
Sure.
When the ground is shaking. So 30 days less driving piles because the building is so much lighter. Typically, for a concrete building that size, we'd have about 55 construction workers on the deck. The entire frame of Ascent was assembled by 12 people using cordless drills. Right? The process is completely different, and the entire building was designed digitally, and it translates from digital to the real world very precisely. Only wood can do that because only wood can be digitally designed and CNC'd in the factory.
So how did you get involved in this? What building did you see out there where you thought, I like that and I've got to get involved?
Well, in addition to the buildings we have in Milwaukee, there was a 2017 case study that we read about an 80-story high-rise that was proposed for Chicago. Now, that was a theoretical study. It wasn't built, but it certainly inspired us. And Newland has a long track record of technical innovation. We were the first to build with light gauge steel. We were the first to do radiant hydronic. We were the first to do micro units. We've done a lot of firsts. And so having that engineering and construction knowledge in-house allowed us to, A, ask the questions, and then B, assemble the right team to build a building like this.
How do I know this can be a solid structure? And, because I just rely on like the steel buildings these days. How do I know that, it's glued together? That makes me a little nervous.
Well, the interesting thing is that glue lam's been around since 1901, and the very first application of glue lam was actually in Wisconsin in 1934. So it's been around for a really long time. In Europe, there have been high-rises built. In Australia and Canada, the United States is just behind, and we're slowly catching up. But it has to go through the same process of structural engineering and fire safety as steel did when it was a new technology, and no one exactly knew what it was going to be like.
Well, speaking of fire, that is a concern that some people have. They hear mass timber, and they think, oh my gosh, if there's a fire, what's happening there? Yeah. What does happen?
Well, the Milwaukee Fire Department, lucky for us, was incredibly knowledgeable about heavy timber and mass timber. And so what's interesting about big pieces of wood, and intuitively know this if you've ever built a campfire. If you throw a really large log in, it doesn't burn all the way through. It just chars on the outside. Now, there's a process to it, but basically when it chars, it oxidizes and it stops the flow of oxygen. And without oxygen, you can't have fire. So it's burning, but it's really charring at a linear rate, at a very predictable rate. And so unlike steel, which will, past 1400 degrees Fahrenheit, it'll start to buckle, mass timber is a very linear progress. And so the steel components inside of Ascent are actually protected by the wood. You can't have the steel exposed by code, but you can have the wood protect the steel. That alone tells you that, yes, mass timber is actually incredibly effective in a fire.
Well, and it makes sense. I mean, you can't have something that's not going to be up to code. So when you think about it, of course, everything has to be up to code. But I know that has been a lot of people's concerns out there. Yeah. What are your thoughts on another building possibly taking your title? of tallest mass timber building here in Milwaukee?
Well, we already have a building in Australia taking our title. That's under construction. And honestly, the titles don't really matter. It's a cool talking point, but no one lives at Ascent because it's the world's tallest. They live at Ascent because it's a superior building, right? It makes them feel great. And that is what we want to replicate.
So what do you think, though, of another mass timber building here in Milwaukee? Do you think that we should continue to have more of these?
I think the entire United States should continue to have more of them. It's not the right solution every single time. There are certain things that we need concrete for. There are certain things where steel does better. But as a whole, mass timber does a lot of things well in construction better than concrete and steel. So I see this as a driving force going forward.
Where is this sourced from? Because a lot of people, environmentalists, may be worried about deforestation.
Yeah, well, so deforestation is interesting because the largest cause of deforestation is lack of demand for forest products. 50% of the U.S. forest land is privately owned. And so when there isn't demand for that forest, it gets converted to agricultural, industrial, residential, whatever. That's a fact, straightforward. Now, mass timber, any major producer of mass timber is using renewable forestry practices. So they're harvesting and they're replanting. Our timber came from Austria because that's where, frankly, the best mass timber manufacturers are, or at least were in 2020. But that's starting to change as Canada and the United States catch up. And so we're seeing more and more investment into manufacturing.
So what's next for you when it comes to mass timber?
When it comes to mass timber. So we, earlier this year, we spun off Timber and Partners as a separate development company. And that company focuses on mass timber and mass timber only because the process is very different. We are working with national and international partners, and we're in the midst of raising multiple funds to build a portfolio of mass timber buildings across the country.
So what did you learn from building Ascent here in Milwaukee?
Oh, my goodness. There were so many different lessons, but I think the biggest lesson was the importance of building the right team. Marrying local expertise with national and international expertise to figure out the right engineering, the supply chain, the construction, A to Z. And because the technology is newer in the United States, you have to solve multiple problems ahead of time that we've had decades to answer those questions for concrete and steel, but in mass timber, we're moving at warp speed. The big advantage that we have is that we have these powerful digital technologies now that we didn't have before, and they can model out problems and solutions instead of, like with concrete, we'd build the thing and be like, well, that worked well, that didn't work well, and it took decades.
So are you going around and showing people the Milwaukee building as an example of this is what we can do in your city?
Yeah, we've had people fly in from as far as Taiwan and Brazil to see this building. We give tours on a regular basis, and we give tours to people who are looking to partner with us, but also we give regular tours to other development teams and architectural teams that are looking to do the same and just want to learn. We've been very clear that the more buildings get built that are like this, the better for the entire industry, because then we're all solving the problems together.
I think it's fascinating, and it's beautiful inside.
It is.
Julia, we're getting the tour next, I think.
I think so.
And
yeah.
we only have to travel 10 minutes to get there.
We'd love to have you there.
Thank you so much. That is Tim Gachman, CEO of Timber and Partners and Managing Director of New Land Enterprises. Time now is 11:25. Stay close. Local news and national news coming up next.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage. I get that most home shoppers just go with their bank when it comes to getting pre-approved, but that's probably a mistake because banks have a lot of overhead, like branches, fancy headquarters, and layers of management. That means their closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 higher than AccuNet's for exactly the same rate. And that's not all. Bank pre-approval letters are usually weak and unconvincing, especially compared to AccuNet's rock-solid, fully verified pre-approval that provides a $2,000 guarantee to you and the seller. Our senior loan consultants will also look at every possible way to strengthen your offer and pre-approval in the eyes of that seller, especially if you're offering over the asking price. We even call the listing agent to reinforce what a great buyer you are. Banks don't do all that. Click on the blue button today at AccuNet.com and let our passionate mortgage pros help you win while you save a bunch of money too. That's ACCUNET.com.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlands.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Richlands. Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention, like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See? We didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
Don't let spring allergies make you miserable. Try the quick, drug-free solution trusted by over 4 million people. Navage. Only Navage uses suction to flush out your sinuses using refreshing saline, helping you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. And here's even better news. Navage is now available at your local Sam's Club in a great new value pack. It's everything you need to start breathing better fast. Check out Navage at your local Sam's Club today. Navage. Navage. Breathe easy.
Hey, this is Steve Scafidi for Advent. I had some snoring issues that kept my wife up at night. That led to poor sleep and a lot of tired mornings on the radio, and nobody wants that, trust me. Put it simply, my nose wasn't working the way it should. I decided to go to Advent for a quick 30-minute visit, one of their great facilities, talk to a bunch of their doctors. They really put me at ease. After a really simple sleep study at home, in my own bed, they determined the root cause of my problem had to do with my sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. I didn't even know I had a breathing triangle, so I went to see Advent. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing well, and my wife and I are both back to sleeping through the whole night. The best sleep we've ever had, that could be you. If you struggle with restless nights like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your life and your nights a whole lot better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
When you said tomahawk chop, we were thinking
steak night. Fly ball down the left field line. This is going to be a goner, a home run for Willie.
It's the Brewers and the Braves tonight. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts at 6:35.
And steak sauce. Steak sauce, dude.
We are the home of your Milwaukee Brewers, WTMJ.
It's 11:30. I'm Jessica Ty. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, July 29th. Your top story, sentencing for a trans woman's murder in Milwaukee.
I'm Julia Fellow. Outrage from the Archdiocese.
Today, expect mostly cloudy conditions. Some of you are already seeing a little bit of rain, a little bit of drizzle outside. It will be humid for the day, high of 81. Tonight, we'll dip down to 71.
ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. President Biden will present his proposals to reform the Supreme Court in a visit this afternoon to the LBJ Library in Austin, Texas. They include allowing a president to appoint a justice every 2 years and limiting them to 18-year terms. Former President Trump's agreed to an FBI interview as it investigates the attempted assassination at a rally in Pennsylvania. The local SWAT team telling ABC News it might have been prevented had communication with the feds been better.
The team believes it did everything it could have to thwart the attack, but accepts its share of failure.
I think we all failed that day.
How so?
Life was lost. Yeah. People died. And if there's anything that we could have done to stop that, we should have done.
ABC's Aaron Katursky. Smoke from the explosive Park fire and others burning across the west are drifting as far east as New England. This is ABC News.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, a man convicted of murder in the death of a transgender woman from Milwaukee will spend the next 23 years in prison. Clayton Hubbard pleaded guilty to the murder of Regina Allen last May. Investigators testified that Allen was able to give a description of her killer with her final breaths prior to her death in 2022. Hubbard will also serve more than 7 years of extended supervision after his release.
An emergency plane landing in Dodge County. Law enforcement went to the area near County Highway TW in the town of Hubbard, where 2 planes were found in a farm field. A 28-year-old man from Georgia told officers he lost power to a single-engine aircraft, leading to that emergency landing in the field. The second plane was traveling with a disabled plane and landed in the field to check on the pilot. Both planes were in the way back to Georgia from EAA Oshkosh show in Oshkosh. There are no injuries in the emergency landing.
The Milwaukee Archdiocese is demanding an apology for something that occurred during the opening ceremonies of the Summer Olympics.
Archbishop Jerome Listecki says he's outraged over what he believes was a mockery of the Last Supper shown during the opening ceremonies of the Summer Games. Listecki has sent a letter to TMJ4 News, the NBC affiliate here in Milwaukee, demanding the station's general manager apologize to local Catholics and Christians. A Paris Olympic spokesperson has said the intention was not to show disrespect to any religious group and apologize to those who did take offense. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Decision Wisconsin, voters will say on 2 proposed state constitutional amendments on the upcoming August ballot. Now, the first would provide assurance that the legislature will remain in control of spending decisions of certain federal funds. The second would give the legislature say in future spending decisions involving federal funding. Currently, the governor has broad discretion to spend federal dollars however they wish. Under the Wisconsin Constitution, proposed amendments do not require the governor's approval to go to the voters or take effect.
We had a celebration of all things Harley this weekend here in Milwaukee, but all is not necessarily well with the company. The Milwaukee Business Journal's Rich Kirchen tells WTMJ the company is decreasing manufacturing at its plants, including the one in Menominee Falls.
That means the company is trying to reduce the inventory at their dealerships. They're saying 30%. They think there's a mismatch between the number of bikes they've been making and the number that the dealers have been selling.
Kirchen says in speaking with union leaders that has meant workers not being at the plant full time.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:34.
When you're at State Fair this year, be sure to check out the Bank 59 Amphitheater, State Fair's largest free entertainment venue, featuring acts like Here Come the Mummies, Gaelic Storm, and Pat McCurdy. Bank 59 is a proud sponsor of the fair and a proud supporter of the local Wisconsin communities they've served since 1859. So grab your bucket of lemonade or beer, something on a stick, and join Bank 59 between August 1st and 11. Member FDIC.
Vince Vitrano for Absolute Comfort, HVAC and Electrical, joined by Nicole, who along with her husband Brent owns the company. Nicole, why is now a good time to have you out looking at my air conditioner?
Because we want you to get to know us before you have an HVAC or electrical emergency. We will provide maintenance to your AC system so it's ready to operate efficiently on those warm spring days and hot summer nights.
And they are coming. Absolute Comfort, HVAC and Electrical, 262-664-9284, yourcomfortguys.com.
3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission. You can't find a lower rate of commission, and you won't be able to find better knowledge, service, and real estate expertise than you'll find with our agents at Benefit Realty. Because I know that's what you expect. Now, I'm not sure you'll be able to find the highest caliber of agents everywhere, but I can promise that's what you'll get here. So choose Benefit Realty to exceed your expectations, and you'll pay less for more. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com. Whether you're an active or passively active home shopper, our agents want you to be completely up to date with what's out there and what's brand new to the market. With our instant emailed MLS updates, you'll never miss out on what could be the home of your dreams. All you have to do is call and tell us where to search, give us a price range, and soon you'll be totally in tune with your desired real estate market. Remember, MLS searches show you everything. Some of the other real estate sites don't. So call Benefit Realty today, where you'll pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Paris Olympics continued today despite earlier acts of vandalism against telecommunications in the host country. Happening now, the men's gymnastics team is competing in the all-around finals. Earlier today, U.S. women's rugby fell to France 31-14. Later today, the women's basketball squad opens Olympic play against Japan. And back here at home, the Brewers open a 3-game series against Atlanta at American Family Field tonight. Our coverage begins with Brewers warm-up at 6 o'clock on WTMJ.
Taking a look at your roads with WTMJ Johnson Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic. I see 41 northbound from Hampton to Appleton Avenue. A slowdown this lunch hour. Also seeing major slowdowns on 894 eastbound from 35th to 27th, and then it clears up. And this is the big one. 4194 south, about a mile and a half past Layton. The right shoulder is blocked because of a crash. I can see the truck driver is out walking on the roadway, on the highway. There is a huge slowdown, and I'm seeing massive backups there.
And here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast today. Mostly cloudy. Some of you already seeing rain. The roads are wet in many spots. Humid as well today. High of 81. Tonight, partly cloudy. Patchy fog late. We'll dip down to 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. Hot and humid. Slight chance of storms. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it is much of the same. Partly cloudy, hot and humid, chance of storms. Highs in the 80s. And stay with us because right after the break, we're going to check in with TMJ4's Kristen Kershane. She'll tell us about the timing of all these chances for storms.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Volkswagen Traffic Tip Line, 414-238-9329.
When I think of the word precision, I think of Tadpole and Craig. Oh, you don't know Tadpole and Craig? Well, you should. They're like world-class musicians, except instead of a tuba, they use a tape measure. In lieu of a lute, they labor in lumber, and the only band they know is a bandsaw. Yes, Tadpole and Craig are prodigies of precision when building log cabins and barns. But when it comes to the quartet of plumbing, electric, heating, and air, old Tadpole and Craig can't hold a candelabra to the masterful maestros at Mr. Holland's Home Services. If your drains are clogged, if your air ducts are dirty, if your water heater is nothing more than a water holder, and if your AC stops singing its summer song, call Mr. Holland's Home Services. We provide the perfect harmony of service and installation to keep your house humming. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If your home is out of tune, we can help.
For love of the game.
But there's nothing like being selected to the Olympic team.
And love of their country.
Championship of that level, gold medal, means more.
Tune into Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Inside stories from Buck stars on the agony and triumph of competing to win it all at the Olympics. It's Behind the Bucks, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
Every Monday here in Wisconsin's Midday News, we check in with the team over at TMJ4 to look ahead to the new week weather-wise. And Kristen is joining us today, which is a treat. And guess what, Kristen? I have a surprise for you. Because your friend Julia is here too.
Yay!
Julia, hello.
We just saw amazing things during our tea at the Pfister. We saw the air show.
Oh, that's a great spot to see it
great
from.
View.
In the Blue Room. Didn't even plan that.
Too.
The tea at the Pfister is always fabulous. What was your favorite? What did you guys pick?
What did you get? Oh, you had like some Earl Grey, right?
Yeah. Ooh, it was really good.
I had hers.
And the scones. Oh.
I know. There's little teeny tiny like finger sandwiches you can have and
the
desserts.
Little Sammies or the little desserts.
And how long was that wait? The waiting list for us to get there, was that like a 3-month wait?
I booked it a couple months out. Yeah, if you want to do tea at the Pfister, be looking at your calendar and checking the website.
Don't forget.
Yeah, no, it
was
true.
Fun.
Absolutely.
And it was beautiful.
Did you get to smell the tea before you picked? Because they kind of went through phases with COVID. They took that away, and then it kind of came back. And because I think that's so much a part of the experience is to be able to take it in and get the smell and say, "Ooh, yeah, I want
we
that
got
one."
to smell all of them, and they have such a big variety of like the herbal teas and the ones with caffeine. I don't know, there was a whole bunch of different ones, but yes, you can smell them all.
Kristen wanted ones with the caffeine. She goes, "Give me all the caffeine."
So you're caffeinated and ready to go to give us the forecast. I think that our big thing is, number one, some people are seeing rain right now, others aren't. What can we expect as the day goes on? And then what about for the days ahead? Because I know there's a lot of chances for storms and showers as I look at the forecast here for the week.
Yeah, so this week is going to be kind of interesting. As far as today, I heard you before the break mentioning some of the slowdowns out on the roads, and that will likely be common as we head into this afternoon. The rain is going to start to pick up in intensity around the Milwaukee area as we get into the next 15 to 30 minutes or so, with some heavier rain lifting north. So we've got a low pressure area moving over us right now. So that's going to continue to bring us some scattered rain showers. I think as the afternoon goes on, we build some more heat. We'll probably get some lightning and those pockets of heavier rain that will continue to develop. So that'll be the case through this afternoon. By this evening, though, it looks like we'll be mostly dry. Then the rest of the week, we've really just got this on and off chance for thunderstorms, and each day's chance for storms really depends on what happens the previous day. So it's a pattern where it's really hard to nail down the exact timing and placement of any of these thunderstorms. So what I would say for the week ahead, there's a chance for storms really every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Not a washout any of those days, but just stay weather aware. Outside of that, it is going to be a warm and a very humid week. You will definitely notice the humidity.
It says humid nearly every day, yeah. And what about the fog tonight? How bad is that?
Yeah, so there is a chance for fog. It doesn't look like it's going to be a widespread fog, and that fog will basically just be a result of the fact that there's so much humidity. So there's so much moisture present, and then as the temperatures cool off, you just condense out a lot of that moisture, and so that could create some areas of fog.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Kristen, and we're pleased that we could have Julia join too. I didn't know when planning the show today that you guys were going to have tea yesterday.
That's fantastic.
Here we are.
You got to come with us next time.
It is.
Yes, Jessica.
It is a special.
Ooh.
It really is a special day when you're up there. I like Blue no matter what, and I'm happy to go up there for a cocktail too in the evening. But the tea at the Pfister, it really is special. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Kristen, for getting us ready.
Great to talk to you both.
All right, 11:43. Up next, we're going to check in with Stephen Portnoy. What did former President Donald Trump mean when he said, you won't have to vote again if he's elected?
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for J.D. Griffiths. It was more than a year ago that my wife and I decided we needed new garage doors. And now a year later from J.D. Griffiths, and they look brand new. Just gorgeous garage doors that enhance the look of the house. They pop. I tell you, they pop. J.D. Griffiths has been doing it for more than 70 years. And they're not just providing premier garage doors. They're also Milwaukee's detached garage builders. They do it all for you. And now J.D. Griffiths is offering you a deal. You can get $100 off a new garage door opener with the purchase of a brand new garage door from J.D. Griffiths. They'll come in, you'll get that free at-home estimate, and they'll take care of you. Here's what you do. Go to the website, jdgriffiths.com/WTMJ, or call 414-362-7222 and mention me, Eric Bilstead, and you will save some cash. Check out J.D. Griffiths and enhance the look of your home. Those garage doors, they pop. 414-362-7222, J.D. Griffiths.
Market volatility, global issues, inflation, still. More than a few headwinds this year. That's probably why Americans feel uncertain about their financial futures. Boomers, not much room for error. Gen X might need more than a 401k. And for millennials, it's time to get real about saving and investing. Talk to Annex Wealth Management. Build security with a partner on your side for unbiased advice. You may need more than investments. That's why Annex delivers tax and estate planning. There's an Annex plan personalized for you. Click the Get Started button at AnnexWealth.com.
As former President Donald Trump wrapped up a nearly 75-minute speech over the weekend, he delivered a final pitch to the crowd saying if they vote for him on Election Day, they would never be obligated to vote again. You won't have to vote again? What the heck does this mean? Let's bring in ABC's Stephen Portnoy this morning. Stephen, a lot of people have a lot of questions about this one.
Yeah, Jessica, and let's hear what the former president had to say on Saturday as he spoke to a group of conservative Christians in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine.
So Democrats heard that and they seized on it and they said, see, what you hear there is Trump saying that he's going to end democracy, that all people will have to do is vote for him this one last time and there won't be any more elections in America. Jeez. Well, the Trump campaign came back and said, no, he was talking about unifying the country and all this vision for all the things he would fix, as he put it. So it's one of those moments where a lot of attention is paid to something that Trump says, and it's in the ear of the beholder. Ultimately, this works, I think, in Democrats' favor because it plays into their argument that Trump would be an autocrat and a dictator and all the things that they've been saying about how he would end democracy. And every time Trump goes off script and gives a riff like this, it works more for the benefit of his opponents than it does for him. At the same point, if you are a Trump fan, you are probably rolling your eyes and saying, there they go again, making Trump seem as though he's saying things he clearly isn't saying. So it's one of those moments.
Sure. So some are saying, that was Trump obviously making a joke, but others are saying no way, that this might be a genuine threat to American institutions. Did you gather anything from the tone? I mean, we can sometimes tell when the former president is making a joke, and sometimes you know it and sometimes you don't. What do we think from his tone in this particular case?
Well, look, my view is it sounds to me like all the things he said over the years about being tired of winning, that if he's president, we'll all just get tired of it. And he probably didn't mean that. But I think that if you are a Republican office holder, you're hearing it and you're wincing just a little bit. You might laugh, but also, hey, wait a minute. If you're a Republican office holder, you hope that voters will come out in future elections to vote for you. And this idea that they just need to vote this one time and never have to vote again would mean that ultimately Republican office holders would lose, you'd think, because only Democrats then would be coming out to vote in the future.
Do you think Harris's team is going to get this in the ads and say, look at that, there you go, he said it himself, he's going to be a dictator?
Yeah, I think they probably will. And that's the liability. So much of the last couple of days has been focused in American political journalism and politics on the liabilities for this Republican ticket, including the things that J.D. Vance has said over the years about adults who don't have children. Lindsey Graham, the ally of Donald Trump and partner, went on television yesterday and said while he appreciates what J.D. Vance is saying about how the government should adopt policies that promote the interest of families and help working families, it's also not a great political idea to go around hurting people's feelings for the fact that they don't have children, and that must mean that they're angry people. It doesn't exactly work necessarily in politics to malign your opponents and say things like basket of deplorables or they're a bunch of angry cat ladies.
It kind of makes you laugh when you hear it, but people are mad, and rightfully so, because they feel singled out, and there are a lot of women out there who are saying, listen, I'm not a single cat lady by choice. I wanted to have children, and I can't have children. I mean, there's a good amount of the population who feels that way. You had Jennifer Aniston, who came out last week and talked about it. This isn't going away yet.
No, it's not, because at the end of the day, it's not just people who, beyond their choice. It's some people who choose not to have children. And why should those choices be the subject of ridicule by a man who hopes to hold the second highest office in the land? Ultimately, it gets at what's in that person's head. Increasingly, you're hearing Democrats use the word weird to describe the things that Republicans are saying. You're going to hear that word. Every time you hear that word now, remember that it's part of an orchestrated campaign now of the Democrats to use that phrase to kind of cast Republicans in a weird light. Weird.
Yeah.
But the point is, why would J.D. Vance criticize people for their personal choices? And what does that mean for the way he would govern the country if he had the second highest office in the land or even higher than that? And it doesn't seem to be a winning political argument, even if the point you're trying to make is, having children is a good thing, and we should have government policies that facilitate and foster the development and rearing of children, and people who have children have it hard, and so we should give them broader tax credits, which is, by the way, a Democratic philosophy as well as a Republican one.
Sure.
And so, look, it's just one of those things where it's just not a smart political thing to say.
You've got to wonder when videos like this surface again, if they're like, oh, man, why is that on video? Coming back to haunt them.
Well, and you wonder, look, Democrats are having a bit of mischief with this, saying, you wonder if Donald Trump regrets choosing Vance. And, Trump has said in recent interviews that Vance is doing a terrific job. Well, there are some who have studied Trump for a long time, Anthony Scaramucci, who says that he hears the opposite when he hears Trump saying something like that he believes, at least, that Trump is regretting it. But only Trump can speak for himself on that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Hey, real quick here, I want to ask, speaking of VP picks, we're now waiting for Kamala Harris's pick on this. And it seems like at first we had 4 and then maybe we had 12. Do we have any idea on where she is right now?
We don't, but the, highest profile candidates include Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, the governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, all of whom are among those who are thought to be some of the highest profile choices. But again, it's a wide field here, and we expect an announcement relatively soon because the Democrats are scheduled to begin their virtual roll call to nominate the ticket as early as August 1st.
That's coming up. All right, Stephen Portnoy, ABC News national correspondent from Washington. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Stephen.
You bet.
What does France smell like? You can now find out thanks to a scratch and sniff postage stamp. That's after the break. Saudi Limited WTMJ News Time, 11:52.
It's like playing baseball in the house.
Mom, Dad broke the window.
Without the risk of...
Again.
That. Every Thursday at 8:40, play virtual baseball on Wisconsin's Morning News. Step up to the virtual plate and test your mettle against the best.
Swing and a drive to right.
It's virtual baseball, presented by Siding Unlimited. Only played here on WTMJ.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, with a tip for today's home shoppers. You already know inventory is low and both competition and home prices are high. That's probably why you should not go with your bank or your real estate agent's mortgage pal for your pre-approval. You see, the banks have lots of branches, fancy headquarters, vice presidents and assistant vice presidents. And the loan officers who get referrals from real estate agents, they're typically very highly paid. Who do you think pays for all that extra expense? Turns out it's you. High overhead and high compensation naturally translate into higher closing costs. At Accunet, our extreme efficiency and low overhead mean your closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks and other lenders for exactly the same rate. Don't light your hard-earned money on fire. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval today by clicking on the blue button and put the money you'll save in closing costs towards something for your new home. That's ACCUNET.com.
Southeast Wisconsin takes pride in our traditions.
Lakefront festivals.
Neighborhood festivals.
The best beer and brats.
Cheering on our teams.
The rich tradition of jewelry in Southeast Wisconsin has embodied Rasmussen diamonds since 1900.
To prepare for the epic 125-year anniversary at Rasmussen Diamonds, half the store will be 50% off.
It includes wedding bands, fashion jewelry, even some engagement rings, and more.
Don't miss the 50/50 sale, 2 days only.
August 2nd and 3rd at Rasmussen Diamonds in Racine.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Yeah, it's little Santana. You know who I saw on Friday night?
Who?
Santana.
Excellent.
I was debating between going to Jelly Roll for the Harley homecoming or Santana. And the three of us kind of decided that, there might not be many more years for Santana. So that's how we made the decision. It was a fabulous concert, but I heard Jelly Roll was too.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so jealous.
All of a sudden, I was like, wait.
So talented.
I just heard this live in Milwaukee on Friday. Yeah, it was great.
Wow.
All right, let's get you up to date on the Olympics. Let's find out how the Americans are doing this Summer Olympics. Here's CBS's Jamie Yukas.
I ran into Simone Biles' parents after the competition. They told me they are so proud of her. We all are, right? The women's final is tomorrow. Tonight, we're going to be watching women's basketball and their quest for gold once again, along with those tennis greats, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic, who are about to start playing.
Okay, Julia, are you watching the Olympics?
Yes, a lot.
Do you love them?
Is
Is it like appointment viewing for you?
It is, yeah. I have Peacock now, so I can watch anything on demand. It's really cool.
I love that. I have to say, and I've admitted on the show before, it's not really my thing. It's not that I don't like them. I just find in the summertime I want to be outside more, and so I'm not in front of the TV as much. So I kind of prefer the Winter Olympics over it. But I'm not alone, because a new Gallup poll finds that Americans have never been so uninterested in the Summer Games.
Uh-oh.
Only 1 out of 10 American adults plan to watch nightly. Well, that's big, to commit yourself every single night, so I could see that. Women's gymnastics is expected to be the most watched, mostly by women.
Oh, yeah, I'm watching every second of Simone Biles, and she really hurt her calf.
Yeah.
And she's barely even going down the stairs, and then she's doing these vaults and the floor routine, and it's incredible.
They are so impressive. It's just like when they need to turn it on, they turn it on, and they're even working through pain sometimes. Okay, before the break, I mentioned, what does France smell like? Would you choose something if you think about France or Paris? What the scent would be?
Like flowers, or hopefully nothing stinky that's bad. Because people have been saying some bad things about that river.
Oh gosh, the river, yeah, and what's in the river. Well, this is really kind of fun. France is flaunting its baguettes with scratch and sniff stamps. Remember scratch and sniff stickers as a kid?
Yes.
Are those still popular? Those were so fun. You just take your little nail and then you just get good smells. Well, people attending the games in Paris will be able to send home the aroma of classical French cuisine by buying a scratch and sniff stamp. They're actually pretty cute, too. I was looking at them. They've got little baguettes on there, and they're kind of colorful. If you think about the baguette, I mean, it's been a mainstay of the diet for at least 100 years, so it makes sense. It's kind of fun. Send one of those home.
Oh, yes. There's probably so many trinkets to buy. That'd be perfect.
Grab a postcard, say, hey, having fun at the games. Don't forget to scratch and sniff the stamp. Local news is coming up next. Sounding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:58.
Gorgeous new roofs, showstopper siding, or classic brick and stonework. How about modern windows and regal doors that'll make your chin hit the floor? To a lot of people, having these things can really make them enjoy where they live. It makes them proud. But there's always one thing standing in the way. How do I make that happen? At Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, we have excellent financing options for most people in most situations. 12 months, no interest, no payments, and exceptional rates for long-term loans that will beat your bank with no additional fees or hidden costs. You can go to SemperfiRoofing.com to apply for your pre-approval today. We want to make any project affordable to almost any person, and we've gone out of our way to find partners that can help make it happen for you. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semperfi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semperfi.
Ask about our finance options.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
It's still summer in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin Harley-Davidson in Oconomowoc has you covered for fun in the sun. From bike nights to Saturday rides, or maybe just some retail therapy like a new motorcycle, or just a little something for yourself, there's always something going on. Check out Wisconsin Harley-Davidson at WISHD.com and like and follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and online at WISHD.com. Don't just see the world. Feel it right here, right now. Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, your destination dealer.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
You won't find a braver team than this crew.
And the first pitch to him is lined out towards left. Coming over is Churio. Diving catch. And this ball game is in the books.
The Brewers take on the Braves at American Family Field. Our coverage starts tonight at 6 with Brewers warm-up. On your home for the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Hey, it's 12 o'clock on the dot. I'm Jessica Ty. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, July 29th. Your top story, the president to address calls for Supreme Court reform.
I'm Julia Fellow, working to put out a historic wildfire.
Looking at your forecast for today, it is wet out there for some of you. Definitely seeing some rain showers in the area, mostly cloudy otherwise. We have a high of 81 today, and you will notice the humidity. Tonight, partly cloudy, patchy fog late. Will dip down to 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot and humid, slight chance of storms in the evening. High of 87 tomorrow. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, President Joe Biden is expected to address his calls for Supreme Court reforms and a proposal to limit presidential immunity. He'll speak this afternoon in Austin, Texas. ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has our look ahead.
He is calling for a constitutional amendment to limit the broad presidential immunity that the court's conservative majority backed last month. The president saying that decision means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. Now, the political reality here is that it is going to be very difficult. There's little chance of this being approved by this deeply divided Congress with just 99 days left until the election. But the White House is hoping that this will shine a spotlight on recent decisions and will inform voters as they make their decision.
Meanwhile, CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum tells Wisconsin Morning News presidents have little say on constitutional amendments.
The president has no role at all in constitutional amendments. He could write 1,000 op-eds. It doesn't matter. He doesn't get to pick that legislation. He doesn't have a veto power. It's not like regular legislation.
Rosenbaum expects the president to have a tough time getting any of these proposals passed.
More details of the death of a motorcyclist during the Harley-Davidson Homecoming Festival. 31-year-old Mark Jones of Oregon, Wisconsin, was driving his motorcycle around 6:40 Saturday night near First and Walker in the Walker's Point neighborhood. A driver speeding in a silver Hyundai Elantra failed to stop at a stop sign and hit him. His family confirmed he was here in Milwaukee for the Harley Homecoming with friends. Police confirmed that the car that was involved was in an earlier armed robbery and police pursuit that ended before the crash. They're still looking for suspects who left the scene.
Loved ones of a man who died outside a downtown Milwaukee hotel last month will be back out picketing with signs later today.
The family of Devontae Mitchell plans to protest outside the Hyatt Regency this afternoon alongside attorneys Ben Crump, Will Sultan, and B. Ivory Lamar. This as nearly 1 month has passed since security guards pinned down Mitchell outside the hotel after police said he caused a disturbance inside the building. Family members say Mitchell was suffering from a mental health episode. Police have referred 4 murder charges to the district attorney's office, though no one has yet been charged with Mitchell's death. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Another stumbling block for a ceasefire in Gaza. Reporter Linda Grandstein says Israel has added new conditions to a U.S.-backed truce.
Israel wants to make sure that Hamas gunmen who are now in the south of Gaza will not be able to go back to the north of Gaza. Israel wants to continue to control the border between Gaza and Egypt to prevent smuggling. All of these conditions are not acceptable to Hamas.
Israel also wants to be able to drop out of a 3-stage ceasefire proposal after a 6-week pause in fighting.
Progress is being made in a giant wildfire that's still growing near Chico, California.
While the park fire is still growing, bigger now than the city of Phoenix, firefighters are now seeing some progress. Weather conditions have improved, and on Sunday, firefighters went from having the fire 0% surrounded by fire line to now 12% containment. That shows great progress. But being one of the biggest fires in California history, it could burn for weeks or even months. Nearly 5,000 firefighters are working to calm the flames. Alex Stone, ABC News.
And smoke from that fire is expected to reach Wisconsin later this week.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A little change in the Dow from last hour. The Dow now down 8 points to 40,580. S&P 500 is up nearly 20 points to 5,478. And the NASDAQ is up almost 97 points to 17,454. Get an honest opinion of where you're financially and where you're headed. Work with a fee-only fiduciary. Start at annexwealth.com.
Sports, traffic,
This
and weather.
report is sponsored by Diamonds Direct.
News time,
Your
12:05.
love, their passion.
When you ask people here, what's the one thing that makes Diamonds Direct their favorite jeweler? For some, it's the unbeatable pricing we get through our direct importer. No middleman connections. The foundation of our business since day one. For others, it's the uncompromising quality. From hand-selected diamonds to handcrafted designer rings. Only the best of the best. Some people put selection at the top of their list, as Diamonds Direct offers up to 30 times the options you expect from a typical jewelry retailer. For some, it's our luxurious showroom with diamond experts who genuinely care care about your experience and happiness and who are empowered to do whatever it takes for you. Others rave about Diamonds Direct's unmatched warranties and guarantees that include free service for life and an extraordinary 110% diamond upgrade promise. But you know the most often answer we get when asking what makes Diamonds Direct stand out? It's not one thing. It's everything. Diamonds Direct. Value, luxury, choices, and confidence. Get directions, hours, and more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Now open in Wauwatosa.
It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Get sale discounts store-wide all month long. What a great time to shop for all of your Christmas needs. Get your holiday decor and so much more, along with all the great bargains we always have for you. It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Stay and play in Lake Geneva, the Midwest's premier golf destination. With 10 challenging courses for all abilities and skill levels, breathtaking views, crystal clear lakes, and rolling fairways. Enjoy an all-inclusive golf getaway with luxurious lodging, distinctive dining, and a relaxing spa. Plan a group golf outing, a corporate event, or a weekend getaway with friends or family. For course information and more, go to visitlakegeneva.com. Lake Geneva. It's always been the place for legendary golf.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The Paris Olympics continue on despite earlier acts of vandalism today against the telecommunications in the host country. Happening now, the men's gymnastics teams is competing in the all-around finals. Earlier today, U.S. women's rugby fell to France 31-14. And later today, the women's basketball squad opens Olympic play against Japan. Back here at home, the Milwaukee Brewers open a 3-game series against Atlanta at American Family Field tonight. Our coverage begins with Brewers warm-up at 6 o'clock, right here on WTMJ.
Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Few things going on. 41 northbound from Silver Spring to Mill Road. We have a slowdown this lunch hour. 4194 south ramp from College Avenue. The right shoulder is blocked because of a disabled vehicle. There's a huge slowdown. I'm seeing massive backups there. There's a crash on the ramp from Ryan Road to 4194 north. Also seeing slowdowns growing, 894 eastbound from Loomis to 27th. A disabled vehicle on exit to County C in Ozaukee County from 43 northbound.
And here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast today. Mostly cloudy. We are seeing showers and storms in some areas, and the roads are wet, so a heads up with that. Humid as well today, high of 81. Tonight, partly cloudy, patchy fog late. We'll dip down to 71 tonight. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot and humid, slight chance of storms in the evening hours. High of 87 tomorrow, also a high of 87 on Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's all much of the same. Partly cloudy, hot and humid, and a chance for showers and storms. We did talk with TMJ4's Kristen Kershane during our last hour, and she did let us know that this is not going to be an all-day washout every day this week. So good news for that, but keep your umbrella handy.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Ty, and in for Greg Matzik, it's Julia Fellow.
Happy Monday, everybody. Woo! It's a ladies' show today.
Let's go.
It's fun, right?
Yeah,
and I don't know.
I love it.
There's something about the rain, kind of just feeling like we slow things down a little bit after just a busy weekend,
Oh my
right?
gosh, it was crazy.
So much fun, though.
Were you at EAA, by the way?
I did not go to EAA.
Oh.
My husband did, though, while I was working. He went up there, and you were at EAA.
Was he at the Delta location?
He was just a normal person walking around, checking it all out.
Because that's where our little mobile studio was. It was right across from Delta.
It's really neat to see. I love seeing the ones that are homemade too. I mean, it's just unbelievable that
goodness.
You can make a plane with your hands just like that.
Incredible.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Julia. We appreciate it. We have a lot coming up for you in this last hour here. Can Kamala Harris beat Donald Trump? What new numbers suggest? Also, a local spot here in the Milwaukee area makes a massive list for bars of the year. Any guesses? But first.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
New details today from the local SWAT team at the scene of the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. ABC is the first media outlet to talk with the team. SWAT member Greg Nickel was at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, and noticed the shooter ahead of time. Here's part of his conversation with senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky.
You see me go out with my rifle, one of the snipers texted, so he knows you guys are up there. By 5:14 p.m., they grew suspicious.
He was looking up and down the building and just wandering around, and it just seemed out of place.
Greg Nichols snapped photos of the shooter.
We had a text group between the local snipers that were on scene. I had sent those pictures out to that group and advised them of what I noticed and what I'd seen.
Wow, incredible. Number 2, communication cables sabotaged. First was the trains. Now it's the IT systems being vandalized during the Olympic Games in Paris.
According to the French government, multiple telecommunications links have been hit, affecting fiber and fixed and mobile phone lines around the country. Police official says at least a half dozen of France's administrative departments have been affected, including the region around the Mediterranean city of Marseille, hosting Olympic soccer and sailing competitions. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
Organizers for the Olympics say they've been informed of this sabotage, but can only confirm it's not impacting their operations at the games right now, so that's good news.
And reflecting on a great Milwaukee weekend, crews are dismantling the big stage setup at Veterans Park in Milwaukee after Harley-Davidson's Homecoming Festival. Teams are cleaning up the Summerfest grounds after a busy weekend for Germanfest. And the skies over Milwaukee quieter today now that the Thunderbirds have left town after a successful air and water show. Did you watch any of the air and water show?
I saw it while I was having tea. And by the way, in 2014, 10 years ago, on July 4th, when I was a bureau reporter in Michigan, I flew the Thunderbirds.
Yes.
So it was a vertical takeoff, and he took me upside down, and he said, "Welcome to my office."
Did you pass out?
I did not pass out. I followed the directions of the weird breathing you have to do. It's really embarrassing. But I did throw up. Everybody does, they said.
Oh, goodness.
Everybody does.
I went up in a stunt plane one year, and we did the death drop where you go up, and then they kill the engine, and then the plane just drops. And they told you, I think, that you're supposed to do a light breakfast, just a very light breakfast, have a little something in your stomach. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what I did, to be honest, if I had a light breakfast or not, but I did not. I kept it all in, kept everything in, Julia.
Wow. I didn't eat anything from the night before, like I was having surgery, and I still did something.
Oh, see, maybe you should have had just a little light something.
There you go.
But man, what a weekend. We hope you enjoyed it. It was absolutely fantastic. We're going to check in next with Tim Sheehy, Senior Advisor at MMAC. We'll find out what he did during this great Milwaukee weekend. It's 12:13.
When we're out in your town, come say hi to us as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're out on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show,
wherever we may be, you can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
WTMJ.
You're never going to believe it.
Why would I not believe it?
John Hoyman has a big idea. Big.
John, our Chief Financial Officer?
Hi, Rick. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Monica.
Hi, John.
Hey, John.
Are we in trouble?
No. Everything is great.
Tell them your idea.
18-month special financing for all purchases made in July.
Subject to approved credit, right?
Of course. Just ask an associate for details.
That's a year and a half to pay. Can we do that?
We're an employee-owned company. We can do anything we want.
Sarah, are you nervous we can't afford it?
Sarah, this is John, our CFO. If John says we can afford it, we can afford it.
Do you like the idea of 18-month special financing?
I like it.
I like it.
But only for purchases made in July, right?
Right.
I like it.
18-month special financing for all purchases made in July. Only at Kessler's. For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
When you're at State Fair this year, be sure to check out the Bank 5-9 Amphitheater, State Fair's largest free entertainment venue, featuring acts like Here Come the Mummies, Gaelic Storm, and Pat McCurdy. Bank 5-9 is a proud sponsor of the fair and a proud supporter of the local Wisconsin communities they've served since 1859. So grab your bucket of lemonade or beer, something on a stick, and join Bank 5-9 between August 1st and 11. Member FDIC.
Hopefully you're staying dry out there. Some of you definitely seeing some rain right now. Mostly cloudy, though, if you're not seeing the rain. It is humid, too. High of 81 today. Tonight, partly cloudy, patchy fog late. We're going to dip down to 71 tomorrow. Mostly sunny, hot and humid, and a slight chance of storms later in the evening. We'll have a high of 87 tomorrow. We did check in with TMJ4's Kristen Kershane during our last hour, and she told us even though basically every day this week has a chance for showers and storms, it's not going to be a washout every day. So good news on that end. Well, before the break, we were talking about just reflecting on the great Milwaukee weekend. Tim Sheehy, senior advisor over at MMAC, joins us every Monday at this time at 12:16. So, Tim, we have to ask you, there were so many options here in Milwaukee. What did you choose to do?
Well, first of all, great to be with you, Jessica and Julia. I mean, it was the sights and sounds of summer, right? You couldn't escape them even if you wanted to, and I don't know why you would want to. So between the air show and the Thunderbirds for a couple days over downtown, you know, Harley Fest and the great music that came out of there, German Fest, Northwestern Mutual just leaving town. You've got a couple Summerfest concerts coming up, State Fair about to kick in. I mean, I can't remember a summer that was this busy and this good for Milwaukee, all coming on top of the RNC.
It is so great to see. And I'll tell you what, I was at German Fest with my husband the other night and some friends as well after we had taken one of the Duffy boats out to catch part of the air show on Saturday. And there was this couple behind me. We were waiting to have some of the raclette at German Fest, and I kind of just, overheard them chatting, and they were saying how much was going on, and I could tell they weren't from here. They're from Jersey. And so I just turned around and I said, what are you guys here in town for? Are you here for the Air and Water Show, German Fest, or
Harley?
Yeah. Harley, all these things. And then they said, oh, we're here for a wedding. Wow. I was like, of all the things. But they had so many great things to say about Milwaukee. I mean, they loved the lake. They couldn't believe how much was going on. So isn't that part of this, too, that you have other people in town and then they go home? And, I mean, this was a huge weekend, not just for us, but to be able to publicize how great we can be here.
No, absolutely. And I think of the comment that this woman from California, she was here with the California delegation, the RNC made, and she said, I've never seen a video of your coastline. It's so beautiful. And I never think about calling Lake Michigan a coastline, but everybody else from around the country who's used to seeing kind of long coasts on the ocean, that's exactly what this is. And to have it, so activated and so accessible by the public, and then all those folks go home and talk about really what a postcard Milwaukee is.
Well, and it's true. After the Harley homecoming, I'm walking past that. I just kind of took a peek at all the little license plates on the motorcycles going by. I mean, it was Ontario, it was New York, it was this, it was that. But I am interested in your take on this because now that Harley isn't doing this every 5 years and that it's every year, do you think that's going to change the numbers and how this all works out for us long term?
No, actually, I think the cadence of doing this every year, Milwaukee gets used to it. It's not as big as every 5 years, but more people can participate in it. And my guess is that people who came for the fifth year may not come all 5 years, but they might come one or two of them. So, overall, I think we get more people in. It's more manageable. And just like Northwestern Mutual's event, Harley's now built a brand around this annual event, and I think it's great for the city. I mean, you get motorcycle noise up and down. Brady Street gets really crowded, but otherwise, I think they're great guests.
Brady Street is incredible. Have you ever been out there, Julia, on Brady Street during the festival?
Oh my
gosh,
I love it.
That's just insane.
I know, it's a madhouse.
And they're doing the spins and the circles all around, and it's just great. So between that and the Air and Water Show and German Fest and everything else going on, it was just fabulous. We do have, a lot of fun, but we're not perfect, of course. The carjackings in Milwaukee, one of the city's biggest issues right now. Are our numbers getting any better for carjackings?
Unfortunately, they're not. We've had some improvements since COVID on the overall crime numbers, but they're still up if you compare them to the pre-COVID numbers. And in a very unfortunate incident, we had the death of somebody who came here for Harley Fest really due to a carjacking. And, this is a longer question for a deeper show, but to me, it's endemic of kids who are in their teenage years who have completely lost hope. They're not thinking long term. They're not thinking about this afternoon. They're thinking in the moment. And the only reason they're doing that is because they've lost hope. And so Milwaukee has a lot of deep digging to do. We have the highest number of single female-headed households in the country of any major city, very impoverished. And these kids are, they're in desperate need of more adult supervision. They're in desperate need of, quite frankly, more love and caring and of a better education. So as they become teenagers, they see hope in their future because these kids don't grow up. They don't want to do this. They're not born criminals. They've lost hope in their life. And when you do that, incidents like this happen.
What about tougher punishments?
Yeah.
Tougher punishment's a possibility. But again, I go back to the point that these kids aren't taking these actions because there's a lack of consequences. They're taking the action because they don't see any hope, and they'll engage in an activity like this, whether it results in somebody getting, killed in an automobile accident, or whether it's being sent to jail. So again, we want to penalize people that do it, but I think we got to get back to some of the base causes.
Yeah, and in case you missed our story in news, this was a 31-year-old man, and he's from Wisconsin, but he was here in the Milwaukee area for the Harley homecoming with his friends. He's driving his motorcycle out there. It's 6:40 Saturday night. He's in the Walker's Point neighborhood, First and Walker. Then somebody comes by. There is a driver speeding in a silver Hyundai Elantra that failed to stop at a stop sign and hit him. But police confirmed that car was involved in an earlier armed robbery and police pursuit that ended before the crash. And unfortunately, it is just a theme that we hear too often.
Yeah, it is. And the city's like a lot of businesses. If you have a really good experience, you'll tell a couple people.
Right.
If you have a really bad experience, you tell everybody.
Yep.
And so not to make it light at all of the challenging issue with carjacking, but it does hold us back from more people wanting to visit and more people wanting to live here.
Oh, absolutely. Let's switch. You want to switch gears to one thing that I was really looking forward to?
You were waiting for like a sound something that was like, switch gears. Yeah, you go for it, Julia.
Okay. So our tallest building in the entire state of Wisconsin may soon be coming here?
Yeah, I mean, and again, the question is, we've got the city has given this company a year to figure out its financing, and I'll be fascinated to see how they do that because it's going to be a real challenge. This is a $700 million building. That will be the tallest building in the state of Wisconsin, and they're talking about 750 residential units, 190,000 square feet of office space, 40,000 square feet of retail space, 300 rooms, if you're still following,
yeah, the hotel,
and 1,100 parking spaces. It's stunning. So if that, in fact, comes together and it gets financed and gets out of the ground, that will be a milestone for Milwaukee for this decade and for decades to come.
Wow.
And this will include the largest mass timber building, which we invited Tim Gonkman on earlier during our 11 o'clock hour, and we were talking with him because he's got the Ascent building that he was part of and designed. And so it's just really interesting to see what they're doing with this mass timber. And Milwaukee has a perfect example of that already.
No, and you're exactly right. And actually right across the street from where this new proposed mega story tower is going is a new building that's going up that I believe is also built of timber, and it will be taller than the Ascent. So we got something going on with timber here, and it's great to see.
Well, and it's funny because that's exactly what I said to Tim. I said, Milwaukee to get the world's largest mass timber building. The headline grabs your attention, but it also sounds like a headline I heard years ago.
Right.
Because we did. And then, he did say it's not about the title by any means. But I do know at the Ascent, they've got a little plaque out that says world's largest mass timber building.
Yeah, and now not only once, but twice and maybe 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, it's great to see. Also, the other thing that I take note of, not only with the mass timber building that's a part of that project, but the hotel rooms. Because I think we just realized with the Republican National Convention here in Milwaukee that we could use more. I mean, you had people staying in Whitewater, you had people staying in Lake Geneva, and I talked to a lot of the delegates who were in spots like that who said, man, we wish we were staying here in the city.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're not ever going to be Chicago, but if you look at the juxtaposition of the RNC and the DNC, I think the DNC, their delegates are staying in like 4 hotels. And we were spread, 96% of the rooms were full in the city of Milwaukee. So we do need a hotel. 300 rooms would be great. What we really need is another 500 or 600 room convention type hotel where you can get almost your entire convention in that hotel or split it between 2 hotels. So, that's the challenge. More hotel rooms are great, but I think you would hear Visit Milwaukee say it'd be nice to have them in one big hotel.
Sure. I always love a boutique hotel, the smaller ones that are really charming. But yeah, that's not really what's going to do it here. We need something bigger.
And you said 1,100 parking spaces. Do you think that would hold? That they would keep it at 1,100 parking spaces, or would they fill that up with something else?
No, I mean, I think if you look at it, it's kind of an interesting mix because you would have the hotel on weekends, presumably. You would have office space filling it during the week. At night, you would have people parking for the Performing Arts Center. So the parking spaces would get multiple different types of uses, which helps finance the building.
I was just thinking about this. I know everybody, Harley will look at the economic impact of what the Homecoming Festival brought in, and the Air and Water Show, that too, even though a lot of that is free, which is fantastic. But how long does it take for us to kind of, as a city, gather all the pieces and say, like a weekend like this fantastic weekend, this is how much it impacted our economy?
Yeah, I know Visit Milwaukee is doing a study which will come out this fall, which will try to pin a number as best you can in these things on the RNC. But again, you can come back and compare this summer to previous summers and just look at the room rates in hotels going up, just eyeballing this, walking around downtown and seeing people out spending money. It's going to be a very impactful summer, certainly the largest summer we've had since COVID.
Yeah, and it's not over.
Don't ever say it's over.
It's going quickly, though. Oh, it's going too quickly. Tim Sheehy, Senior Advisor for MMAC, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday.
Thanks for having me.
Stay close. Local news and national headlines up next.
At Kendor Marine, we have everything you need but the water. For over 50 years, boaters have found that to be true. Because when they've needed that old part they thought they'd never find, guess what? They found it here, along with everything else you need to keep your boat out there on the water. This is Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey boaters!
Well, if you have an old boat, new boat, or in between, then Kendor Marine is a great place for you to shop. Because not only do we have all the parts and accessories you need for almost any kind of boat, we also have the expert advice that just about any boater is one day gonna need. I'm Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Market volatility, global issues, inflation, still. More than a few headwinds this year. That's probably why Americans feel uncertain about their financial futures. Boomers, not much room for error. Gen X might need more than a 401k. And for millennials, it's time to get real about saving and investing. Talk to Annex Wealth Management. Build security with a partner on your side for unbiased advice. You may need more than investments. That's why Annex delivers tax and estate planning. There's an Annex plan personalized for you. Click the Get Started button at AnnexWealth.com.
We're talking about Jesus' resurrection and the fact that all those who trust in Him will have eternal resurrected life just as He promised. For whatever happens to this Jesus, it can happen to you. If He lives, you can live also.
It's Archives August and a classic Easter message from Dr. Greg Seltz this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
It's springtime. If you had an annual homeowner checklist, what is the first thing you would check off the list for this spring? How about walking around your house and seeing how rough our winter was on your home? Maybe we think we know what our home looks like, but generally our day-to-day life makes us forget. Step back and check, and you might be surprised. Hey, I have a nice looking house. Or, sheesh, this house really needs a makeover. Do you recall how cold your home was on the windy days this winter? Were your windows up for the test, or did they fail miserably? If you felt like you lived in a refrigerator, your windows may not have been doing their job. Perhaps the frame is showing signs of rot or deterioration, while the seals could be breaking down. Is the glass energy efficient? Do your windows even operate anymore? Or were they never installed right in the first place? They might even lack insulation. Any indication on a window of failure generally points you in the direction of getting new windows. Imagine your roof losing granules or even shingles in the wind. Or maybe you don't need to imagine it. If this is your reality, these areas become prone to leaks. Are the flashings in good shape? How about damage from the ice dams? Roofs typically show their age at the same time, so you can trust if one area is failing, pretty good chance other areas are failing too. So take that walk around your home tonight and check and see how rough your home really is. Maintaining a sound and stable home is always our goal. Protecting the place that protects your family starts with understanding your home's current condition. We didn't even talk about the siding, but see for yourself what needs to be done before the next storm hits.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for roofing. And also replacement windows, decks, and of course siding. Take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more.
It's 12:30. I'm Jessica Ty. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, July 29th. Your top story, the latest on a deadly hit and run in Milwaukee.
I'm Julia Fellow. An apology demand from the Milwaukee Archdiocese.
Taking a look at your forecast today, mostly cloudy, and some of you seeing the rain. Be careful out there, the roads are wet. Also, it's humid out there today, high of 81. Tonight, partly cloudy, patchy fog late. Our temp will dip down to 71 tonight. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot and humid, slight chance of storms in the evening hours, high of 87 tomorrow. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, more details on the death of a motorcyclist who died during the Harley-Davidson homecoming. 31-year-old Mark Jones from Dane County, Wisconsin, was driving his motorcycle around 6:40 Saturday night near 1st and Walker in the Walker's Point neighborhood. A driver speeding in a silver Hyundai Elantra failed to stop at a stop sign and hit him. His family confirmed he was in Milwaukee for the Harley homecoming with friends. Police confirmed the car was involved in an earlier armed robbery and police pursuit that ended before the crash. They're still looking for the suspects who left the scene.
A good week for Harley-Davidson, both at the lakefront and in their pocketbook. The Business Journal, Rich Kirchen tells Wisconsin Week in Morning News he believes the transition of Harley Homecoming to an annual event is part of the company's effort to build brand loyalty.
It's about building on that connection that the company has with its riders. You know, if they're willing to ride here from hundreds or thousands of miles away and spend some time, visiting the museum, hanging out with each other, going to the dealerships, it's sort of the ultimate way of connecting with your customers.
Kirchen says the company also beat expectations with their earnings for the last quarter.
A man convicted of murder in the death of a transgender woman from Milwaukee will spend the next 23 years in prison. Clayton Hubbard pleaded guilty to the murder of Regina Allen last May. Investigators testify that Allen was able to give a description of her killer with her final breaths prior to her death in 2022. Hubbard will also serve more than 7 years of extended supervision after his release.
The Milwaukee Archdiocese is demanding an apology for something that occurred during the Olympic ceremonies.
Archbishop Jerome Listecki says he's outraged over what he believes was a mockery of the Last Supper shown during the opening ceremonies of the Summer Games. Listecki has sent a letter to TMJ4 News, the NBC affiliate here in Milwaukee, demanding the station's general manager apologize to local Catholics and Christians. A Paris Olympic spokesperson has said the intention was not to show disrespect to any religious group and apologize to those who did take offense. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
An emergency plane landing in Dodge County. Law enforcement went to the area near Rosh Hill Road and County Highway TW in the town of Hubbard, where 2 planes were found in a farm field. A 28-year-old pilot from Georgia told officers he lost power to a single-engine aircraft, leading to an emergency landing in the field. The second plane was traveling with the disabled plane and landed in the field to check on the pilot. Both planes were on their way back to Georgia from the EAA show in Oshkosh. No injuries, in that emergency landing.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:34.
Yard work, playing with the kids, getting back out on the boat. Things that should be enjoyable, not painful. Vince Vetrano for Connect Chiropractic, where I've been seeing Dr. Alex Young and his team for nearly a year. My neck, back, and shoulder feeling so much better. It's not just that. Did you know regular chiropractic care can help with sciatica, vertigo, great for athletes, and all without twisting, cracking, or popping? Connect Chiro Docs use a special tool for all the adjustments, so there's no discomfort. Learn more or book your first appointment now at Go Connect Chiro. That's GoConnectChiro.com.
Southeast Wisconsin takes pride in our traditions.
Lakefront festivals.
Neighborhood festivals.
The best beer and brats.
Cheering on our teams.
The rich tradition of jewelry in Southeast Wisconsin has embodied Rasmussen diamonds since 1900.
To prepare for the epic 125-year anniversary at Rasmussen Diamonds, half the store will be 50% off off.
It includes wedding bands, fashion jewelry, even some engagement rings, and more.
Don't miss the 50/50 sale, 2 days only.
August 2nd and 3rd at Rasmussen Diamonds in Racine.
I'm Randy from All Right Home and Remodeling. Did you know that ROI on exterior home improvements are some of the highest? Some sources say new vinyl siding nets 76% ROI and stone veneer is over 100%. Chances are you've seen your property value increase pretty significantly in the past few years. Want to increase it even more and improve curb appeal? Beautify your home's exterior. There's some great tax breaks to take advantage of too. Call us today to set up a free consultation or visit ALLRITE
It's WTMJ's Debbie Lazaga for Comfort Awnings. You've heard me talk about the wonderful new retractable awning the team at Comfort Awnings installed at my home. Now I can have all the cookouts and get-togethers in my backyard with some extra shade and relaxation for my guests. Comfort Awnings is a local family-owned company in Burlington that provides expert installation in southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Now until the end of July, you can receive $400 off any awning or screen. Call 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com to learn more.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
Be our eyes on the road. Report accidents, slowdowns, and road conditions to the WTMJ Hall Volkswagen Traffic Tip Line at 414-238-9329.
Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Julia will have that for you in just a moment, and a heads up that it's wet out there. Time now, though, for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Action continues for the Paris Olympics. U.S. men's gymnastics is currently just off the podium for the all-around competition. U.S. women's basketball tips off their Olympic play this afternoon against Japan. And the Brewers open a 3-game series against Atlanta this evening at American Family Field. Coverage starts with the Brewers warm-up at 6 p.m. on WTMJ.
Take a look at your roads with your WTMJ Johnson Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. 894 eastbound, about a quarter mile beyond the ramp from 27th Street South. The right shoulder is blocked right now because of a crash. Meteorologist Christian Christine has been warning with these spotty showers, there might be a ramp up of traffic and crashes. And she's right. The ramp from 4394 northbound to 94 west, the left shoulder is blocked there because of another crash. 43 southbound from Silver Spring to Capitol, we have slowdowns there. It is red. That's understandable because there is a merge from 3 lanes to 2. There's also some construction going on right there. And 41 northbound from Silver Spring to Appleton, slowdowns that's lunch hour as well.
And here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast today. Mostly cloudy despite the rain that some of you are seeing right now. Yes, some of you are seeing the rain. Also, it's humid out there. Have you noticed? You can just feel the air. High of 81 today. Tonight we'll dip down to 71. Partly cloudy, patchy fog late tonight. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot and humid. A slight chance for storms in the evening hours. High of 87 tomorrow. Wednesday, we also have a high of 87. And honestly, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's looking like a lot of the same. Partly cloudy, hot and humid, and a chance for showers and storms, but it will not be a washout all of those days. Saudi Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:38. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome back to Wisconsin's Midday News. Vice President Kamala Harris sees a boost in favorability now that President Joe Biden is bowed out of the race. Can Harris beat Donald Trump? Let's break down the new ABC News Ipsos poll released on Sunday. ABC News correspondent Derek Dennis joins us from New York with the new numbers. So, Derek, how significant is this increase for Harris?
It's pretty significant. She's up 8 points, up to 43% in her favorability rating since President Biden dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed her to be the new Democratic nominee. The biggest jump for Harris is among independent voters, 44% compared to 28% just last week. So that's a huge jump, really significant. But the question that you posed is, can she beat Donald Trump? By all accounts, they're pretty much neck and neck, with Harris having a slight lead, but it's still early. We haven't had a debate yet. The Democratic National Convention hasn't happened yet, and so it remains to be seen whether Harris can beat Trump, but they are considered statistically in a tie.
So how have Trump's numbers changed? Because we've had two significant things on his end in the last few weeks here. We had, of course, the assassination attempt, and then also his big speech here in Milwaukee at the RNC.
Right. He had a slight bump on both of those events, a slight bump after the unfortunate attempted assassination attempt, and then another slight bump after his speech at the RNC. But then his favorability ratings dropped pretty much right after each of those events, dipping to 36% compared to 40%, after those events. And so, Trump has some work to do if you follow these polls in order to get his favorability back up to where the numbers are ahead of Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee.
Well, and I'm glad you said polls plural, because I wanted to know too, how do the numbers in this new ABC poll compare to other national surveys? Because sometimes, if you're listening, you hear, a new poll today and a new poll tomorrow and a new poll next week.
Right. So the most recent one that can be compared is the Wall Street Journal poll released just on Friday of registered voters showing Donald Trump effectively tied with Vice President Kamala Harris, which is what I alluded to earlier in an election matchup. The poll had a margin of error of plus or minus 3 percentage points. So that means that they're really neck and neck. And so, whether you compare the ABC poll, the Wall Street Journal poll, or others, they're all coming in within the margin of error, which means that it's a statistical tie, really a toss-up. But it's still early. We still have some some weeks to go before we get to the November election.
We're chatting with ABC News correspondent Derek Dennis on the new poll that shows a spike in favorability for Kamala Harris. The VP, not the perfect candidate, though. What are some of Harris's biggest challenges going to be in the weeks ahead? Is it defending Biden's tenure, or is it something personal on her end?
Well, it's really the criticism that we're getting is that she's basically a rubber stamp of President Biden, that she's just going to carry out his agenda into a new 4-year term if she were to be elected. And a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans are raising that as an issue going forward. But, the Harris camp, the Democrats are all saying Biden has been a very successful president. His agenda has been revolutionary, and why wouldn't Kamala Harris continue on that legacy and those incentives and programs that President Biden has pushed through in his first term?
Our country is not the same as it was when Hillary Clinton ran for president, but is sexism still going to be an issue for Harris?
It's interesting. We were talking about this at ABC News. Harris doesn't really play the woman card. I mean, she is really running on the strength of her platform, the strength of her and President Biden's first term. And so that's not been an issue that she has raised. But obviously, the optics is there. She is a woman. She's a black woman and a South Asian woman of mixed race. And so that is all playing in terms of how the public perceives her. But Harris herself has not played that card except to really champion women's rights, especially in reproductive care, abortion rights, those kinds of issues.
True, and interesting to note that she doesn't play the woman card, but at the end of the day, you still have some people out there who are thinking that maybe now is not the time for a woman, even though a lot of people think it is.
Yeah, it's interesting because of her favorability being so high. It begs the question, and a lot of the observers that we're seeing are saying it is Harris's time. If she can hold on to this momentum, if she can capitalize on the momentum that she's seeing now and carry that through to November, we could have the first woman president of the United States.
It's all up to the voters, and every single vote counts. So you got to get out there and vote. Thank you so much, ABC's Derek Dennis. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
A local spot makes a massive Bars of the Year list. Any guesses? Any guesses? Yeah, we'll give the reveal right after this.
Looking for a totally rad flavor adventure, brochachos? Look no further than Surfer Boy Pizza as seen in Stranger Things. Each mouthwatering variety contains rich tomato sauce, delicious mozzarella cheese, and a gnarly range of toppings. The crust is crispy on the outside and airy on the inside. You'll think it was hand-tossed by the Surfer Boy Pizza dudes themselves. Look for it in the freezer aisle at your local store and buckle up your taste buds with Surfer Boy Pizza.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary.
The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
As you age, you start noticing pain in your joints that didn't used to be there. But you don't have to live in pain. When joint pain becomes a reality, schedule your free pain evaluation with Rejuvenex. We'll find where your pain lives and inject powerful, FDA-approved medicines that reduce inflammation and pain, while improving mobility in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees, with some patients experiencing relief for greater than 2 years before repeating the process. While treatments like stem cells can cost close to $10,000 per joint, at Rejuvenex, the cost for your injection can be as low as $65, and almost all major insurance plans cover our treatments, so you may not have to pay anything at all. Call us now to schedule your free pain evaluation, because I'm pretty sure we can help you. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life. Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Get sale discounts store-wide all month long. What a great time to shop for all of your Christmas needs. Get your holiday decor and so much more, along with all the great bargains we always have for you. It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Mostly cloudy today, but yes, we are seeing some rain. Some of you seeing rain right now, actually. It's also humid out there. You can just feel the air today. High of 81. Tonight, partly cloudy, patchy fog late. Our temps will dip down to 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot and humid. Slight chance of storms in the evening hours. High of 87 tomorrow. Okay, have you seen this? This is new today. USA Today has a list of best bars in the entire country. And guess what? One in Milwaukee made the list. Any guesses?
Well, I know what it is. John wanted this in the show, and I said, hey, Midday News has it. We can't do this story.
No way. You can still do it. You can talk about it.
I've only been here once with my friend Todd Hicks. Do you remember him? He was a reporter at TMJ4.
Yeah. Okay, so Bryant's makes the list. And I bet that doesn't surprise a lot of people because it's just so unique. And it's all about, the ordering system is part of what makes it unique. If you haven't been there, customers describe drinks they like, and the bartender custom makes a drink for each person. So do you remember when you went, did you pick, did you tell them, or did you just describe what you wanted? Do you remember how that went down?
I think Todd just picked the pink squirrel for me. What did you do?
Well, I remember, I loved the idea of telling them, just giving them kind of a feeling or what you like a little bit. I don't like drinks very sweet. That's not my thing. I kind of like them spicy. So I actually went back to, this is what Facebook is good for. I don't use it as much in my personal life these days, but I do always enjoy the pictures that are on there. So I just put in Jessica Ty and Bryant's. And sure enough, from January of 2018, pops up a post that says, you like the rum spicy? You get the grog. And they have this one, if you like spiced rum, they have this one called grog, and it comes in a cup that looks like a skull.
Is it a Navy grog? Is that what you got?
Yes, it probably is. Yep, it's probably the Navy grog. Do you see it there on the menu?
Yeah, it's a tiki-inspired rum cocktail made with high-proof 151 rum, secret spice mixture that they don't release. And it was created according to a secret recipe known only to a handful of people, served over shaved ice on a traditional skull mug.
That's exactly what it was. And see, there's a fun story behind it, too. I love that. Like, if I'm going to the grocery store and I'm looking for different wines, I'll turn it over and I'll look to the back. And if there's a great story there, I might choose that one over another.
I like that. Yeah, mine was the pink squirrel. I guess it's a famous cocktail that's gaining popularity. It's an ice cream version, and it has a sweet, nutty flavor. And I thought it was really nice with that signature pink color. I loved it.
Yeah, that is fun. Well, this new list, it features 27 bars, from dives to high-end cocktail bars. So there's a big mix there. But I always think that's nice when you have these lists. I mean, when you only are picking 27 around the country and Milwaukee makes it, it's great. I do kind of laugh at the fact that it's, USA Today Bars of the Year 2024 because Bryant's has been around for so long, and it's kind of just been this special spot. You know, it's like, okay, why is it on the 2024 list? But yeah, I mean, hey, the owner likes it. He says it makes me feel good, right? He says, I think we do something really unique and special, so it feels good when it's appreciated. It's national and bringing attention to Milwaukee, which is an awesome city for restaurants and bars. That's Bryant's owner, John Dye, talking to the Journal Sentinel. And how they do this is kind of cool. You know, USA Today, they've got this whole network, and they have a network of food journalists who live and work in states across the country. So those are the people, they know their communities, just like us, how we know the community here in Milwaukee. So they kind of pool their expertise to select the list, which includes the places they spend their time and basically, ultimately, recommend to readers. So Bryant's, cheers to Bryant's.
Bryant's has more than 450 recipes that they have where that you can pick from.
It's just, and you can go in there and you don't even have to tell them what you like. You can just say, I'm feeling really energized tonight, and then they'll make you a drink. Or you can go in there and say, meh, it's a Monday and I'm feeling sad. Whatever you want. They're going to get something for you.
You can go every day of the year and still have more cocktails to try.
So fun. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:51. Up next, what went wrong at McDonald's?
Throughout history, some people have been born into greatness because of their name or family. Others gained greatness because of their actions. On Wisconsin's Morning News, we celebrate everyday heroes, the John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they woke up one morning they'd be saving a life. Everyday Heroes, Thursday at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Greg Mansick here. I want to tell you about my friends at Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center. I met with Dan Krause, a retired Army veteran who found joy in helping his grandparents set up their wills. Enjoyed it so much, he built a career around it and started Krause Estate Planning. Secure your assets. Help your parents secure theirs by calling Dan at Krause Estate Planning today. They've built their business around protecting you. Protect what you've earned. Protect what you've built. Visit estateplanningpeople.com.
We're talking about Jesus' resurrection and the fact that all those who trust in him will have eternal resurrected life just as he promised. For whatever happens to this Jesus, it can happen to you. If he lives, you can live also.
It's Archives August and a classic Easter message from Dr. Greg Seltz this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
When you're at State Fair this year, be sure to check out the Bank 59 Amphitheater, State Fair's largest free entertainment venue, featuring acts like Here Come the Mummies, Gaelic Storm, and Pat McCurdy. Bank 59 is a proud sponsor of the fair and a proud supporter of the local Wisconsin communities they've served since 1859. So grab your bucket of lemonade or beer, something on a stick, and join Bank 59 between August 1st and 11. Member FDIC.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
People like the value meals, but not enough to help McDonald's bottom line, at least not in the last few months. Here's ABC's Sherry Preston.
For the first time since 2020, when the pandemic shuttered stores and millions of people stayed home, sales at McDonald's locations open for at least a year fell 1%. Part of the reason is inflation. Fewer people were eating out or were opting for McDonald's cheaper menu items, like the recently introduced $5 meal deals at U.S. locations.
So those meal deals, the $5 ones, maybe they'll help in the long run, but they just didn't get them going up quick enough to help with this latest earnings report here. But I can't tell you the last time I actually went to McDonald's, and that's part of the problem.
When I was a broke reporter in Wausau, Wisconsin, and I was getting paid nothing, every day I'd eat the same thing.
From McDonald's?
Yes, it was the dollar value meal. So I would pay like $1.06 and I wouldn't get any side. It was just the one little sandwich, a chicken sandwich.
That's so funny because I'm thinking you went to McDonald's every day, but I actually did when I was in the Quad Cities, kind of in the same boat. And it was funny because I had this car that I had since I was 16 and I was determined just to, it was paid off. You work hard, you pay off your car. I'm like, I'm not giving this thing up, but it didn't even have automatic locks or windows. And I would go to the McDonald's. I mean, this is like 1:30 in the morning, but it was a 24-hour one right by my house. And I would go and they just had like an iced coffee and you get a massive one. when you're working the overnight shift and you're doing mornings. So it was always so good. So I actually would go just about every other day too. So now I'm thinking, okay, you're not that crazy. But that was a long time ago, and I haven't really been. I always like to support local. So I'm not a big one on the chains.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree with you. I think that'd be a great idea. And now we're making a little bit more money. Not millionaires like my study that I'm going to talk about later today. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I do, because I said, hey, Julie, why not? Let's talk about what's exciting coming up on the afternoon show.
So they always say money can't buy you happiness, but there's a new study that says money can buy you happiness.
Oh, geez.
So
how much?
It's about $3 to $7.9 million is the sweet spot.
Oh, my. Well, that's ridiculous.
What they had been doing for so long was not including millionaires in the happiness study. Hello?
So millionaires are saying, we're happy.
Right. So they used to say maybe in the early 2000s that the minimum amount that you should make where you can, pay your car, pay your apartment or mortgage is about $50,000. That went up during the pandemic to $75,000, and right now with inflation, it's about $110,000. Okay, for you to be happy. Now, for you to be truly happy,
I was just going to say, what's the definition?
You have to make more than 6 figures. I'm still looking into it, but it looks like the definition is moolah.
Oh my gosh! So there's a difference between being happy and being truly happy. What?
Right.
Okay.
Being comfortable and being like Queen of Sheba. That's what it's like.
So money is what matters according to this study. But then there's going to be a new study out tomorrow that says money doesn't matter anymore.
Just like coffee's bad for you, coffee's good for you.
Or a glass of wine, a glass of red wine. It's good for you today, not good for you tomorrow.
Hey, I'll take the money if you guys don't want it. That's fine by me.
I'll take the glass of wine tonight. 12:57 is the time. Thanks so much for joining us on Wisconsin's Midday News. Coming up next is Spanning the State.
Jen Latta here from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. I have told you about the delicious pizza you can find at Proof Pizza inside St. Kate. Now there's even more to be excited about with new sandwiches on the menu. Available every day from 11 to 4, you can enjoy options like the turkey pesto, the meatball hero, the Italian hoagie, and more. Skip the same old lunch at your desk and grab a delicious sandwich from Proof instead. Order inside the restaurant or directly from the bar at St. Kate. Explore the new sandwiches and the rest of the menu at Proof.